Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Dads in Business podcast. I'm Glenn Morano, your host. Happy Monday. Let's get those wins this week. I am talking with this amazing person, Danny Legare, who, for me, getting into video, creating content, watching his stuff, even talking to him a little bit before the podcast, learned an amazing amount just in the 10 minutes connecting with this man. I'm so happy to have him on the podcast this Monday. We're here every Monday, 8 a.m. Look for us. We're going to create events. We're going to get more people on, more dads in business on. Danny Legare, sorry. Welcome to the show, my man.
Hey, how are you?
So, happy Monday. It's early.
It is early.
I feel like, I'm a 6 a.m. guy. What are you a 6 a.m. guy too?
Depends on the day, but today I was up at 5 a.m. because I had a shoot. So,
of course, you had to one up me. I knew you were going to one up me, but that's the kind of person you are anyway. Your work ethic is incredible. There's some things that we want to talk about today that I want to talk about today that I think are really important. It's one family, second business, and then I want to talk about the movie that you produced recently. And I didn't know this, but you produced way more than A Spirit of Friendship.
Yes.
So tell me now, we talked a little bit about family. You have an interesting family dynamic, and you're welcome to talk about that. Being a dad, what is that? What can you in one sentence, being a dad, can you tell me what that really means to you?
What being a dad means to me, that's a complex question because I'm not, so like we were talking about before, I'm one of 7 children, and all of my siblings are adopted. I'm the one biological of 7. And then my daughter is adopted from one of my adopted siblings. So being a dad is a little different for me. It's something that I chose. I chose to adopt a 2-year-old little girl and become a single dad. That's the short version. It was a little more complex than that, but that's the general short version of it. I think being a dad is probably the hardest job that you'll ever take on if you take it seriously. And it's one of those jobs that is secretly rewarding in moments and can be torturous in other moments. Being a dad, for anybody that has teenagers or older kids, you know that it's an up and down battle, and that kids kind of live their own life and do their own thing, and you're just kind of there as guide rails for the most of it. I can tell my kid, hey, this is what you're supposed to do, this is how you're supposed to behave, and hope that they do it. So I think it's the most important job you'll take on, and it's probably the most difficult job you'll take on. And some days it can be the least rewarding job, and then other days it can be the most rewarding job. So
okay, so give me some examples. Like, when you mean like the most reward, give me the most rewarding and then the least rewarding. Like some of the examples that maybe other dads can try to avoid that least rewarding part.
Well, I mean, the most rewarding is when you see your children succeed. I mean, you want your kids to succeed. You want them to be able to get the wins. I taught my daughter very early on that, you hear a lot in today's parenting world of, it's just fun to play. It's fun to be part of the team. It's way more fucking fun to win. So go win. Like, work hard, try hard, put in effort, be the best. And the thing that has been really difficult for me to teach my daughter, which she's starting to understand, but didn't for a long time, because she wanted friends and she wanted social groups and she wanted people to like her. So instead of playing to her highest potential, she would play down so other kids would look good instead of being the best that she could be. And it was really, I taught my daughter, explain to her and get her to understand that if you're the best, more people want to be around you, as long as you're the best without an ego, right? So you can't have this big ego, and you can't say I'm the best, and you can't walk around with all this arrogance. You still have to have poise, and you still have to you still have to appreciate everybody else around you. And you have to know that you're part of a team and you can't do it on your own. But working hard and being the best is way more fun than just participating. It just is. So some of those rewarding moments are watching your kid win, watching them win a game, or, score the winning run, or, hit a hard line drive up the middle that gets the winning run in. And then, some of the biggest defeats and some of the days that it's like, I hate being a dad and I don't want to do this anymore, are days that, you find your kid lying or sneaking or just flat out like telling you they're not doing something. And then you find out that they are doing it. It's hard to watch your kids make poor choices that you tried to warn them about, but you just have to know that they have to go their own path and they're going to learn in their own time. And you have to hope that when they learn it and when they do those things that, aren't the best choices, that they're going to learn from them and they're going to grow from them. And hopefully next time they'll do better. But, it's when you catch your kid lying or sneaking multiple times over the course of a year or a couple of years, and they're just not getting it. And no matter what you do to try and, correct the behavior, and they just aren't listening and they want nothing to do with it, you have to find new ways to approach it. You can't give up. You can't stop being a dad. You have to continue no matter how hard it gets. You just have to go, well, fuck it. This is what we're in now. And I chose this life. So I have to be here to support her and help her grow and help her do what she needs to do to get on the right track again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense, because it also kind of like plays to one of the things that you said earlier, is that you're not friends with your kids.
No, I'm not friends with my kids.
And I love that thought process, because I think it's important that not only the kids know. I mean, I think later on in life, once they're adults and they're 18 and you've done what you can and they're at, maybe that's probably a time that you can be friends with them. I think in their younger years, being friends is not what is the best course of action to go. And I live by that myself. I always say the same thing, that being friends with your kids is just not going to work. The Talking about the line drive, like, tell me about the feeling, like, because I already kind of know, and I think a lot of dads also know the feeling when they hit that line drive, the runs in, they're excited, the hugs, the high fives. What's that feel like?
I mean, it's just watching their work come out in the positive, in the way that it was supposed to come out, right? So I've watched my daughter strike out way more times than I've watched her hit the ball. Or ground out, right? Because that's just part of the game.
It
like
is.
If you know anything about softball or baseball, you know that the best hitters are batting 300, and they're so that's 30% of the time they're hitting the ball, or they're getting doing what they need to do. But my daughter's also a catcher, so way more exciting than hitting a line drive up the middle is when she throws somebody out at second.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
When you take away that steal, when you take away that out that you should have had, and they should have never been on that base, and she's the one that gets to throw down and take it away. It makes you want to look at them and go, see, the work pays off.
Exactly. Right.
You just want to you want to tell them how great they did. You want to tell them that was great. You want to cheer for them. You want them to be awesome. And then you have to find the right moment inside of that, in my opinion. You have to find the right moment to be like, so how'd that feel? Did you, do you understand how hard you worked and what you did to be able to, make that throw and make that throw accurate? And the same with hitting, right? I am constantly getting my daughter in with hitting coaches, with catching coaches. I am constantly sending her reels. This is a hack that I've given other parents. If your kids are on social media, which I don't think they should be on social media. I just don't think it's good for them. I don't think it's good for their mental health. But my daughter's 16, and eventually they have to start learning how the world works and the things that are out there in the world. So she is on Instagram part-time. I put limits on it. But what I do to help her algorithm not be just all shit is I'll send her motivational stuff, and I'll send her I'll send her sports stuff, and I'll send her stuff that I want to find its way into her algorithm. And sometimes she catches on and she'll stop watching. So then I'll have to send her some dumb shit that is just funny and goofy. So, I have to keep her on her toes so she'll watch everything I send her.
Yeah.
So that way her algorithm will modify.
Dude, I love that hack. That's an awesome tip, because you're right. You can't 100% keep them off of social media, because then they have the friends are on social and that stuff. I love the idea of sending motivational stuff, interesting stuff, educational stuff even. And just it's funny though that you mentioned that she caught on though, and then you got to kind of switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, you got to switch it up. You got to keep it moving. You also there's also social media platforms that they just shouldn't be on, right? Like TikTok's making some moves where they're starting to put some parental controls in, and they're starting to put some age limits on some stuff. But like X, like the old Twitter, like, oh, dude, no.
It's
Snapchat, no. Hard no, Snapchat. Like anything where you can take photos and they can disappear and then they can be screenshotted or shared, like just hard no. Like, man, imagine when I was 14, if I could send people pictures of my dick, I would have done it all the time. I just would have, like without thinking, like, because you're an idiot. Like,
yeah,
so
no, you're
help
right.
your kids not make bad choices.
Yeah,
because they will.
It's kind of the Wild West in that sense, like anything. And then I think a lot of kids, teenagers, etc., don't understand. Once it's on the internet, it's forever.
Yeah,
forever.
Well, and it can destroy your life in high school, right? Like that one photo gets shared around the entire school, you're fucked. Like that's it forever. Like that doesn't go away. It's not like the media where it's like, oh, something new will happen in a week. No, you're always that kid. You're always going to be known as that, whatever the nickname they give you.
Whatever tag is added to your profile or added to your social status.
So, it's our job as parents to kind of step in and be like, yeah, I'm sorry that you're upset with me. And I'm sorry you hate my guts because I won't let you on TikTok, but I don't give a fuck. Like, deal with it. No. Sorry for your luck. I'm not your fucking friend. These are the rules.
That's it.
You don't like the rules? Too bad. And I'm not saying that my daughter hasn't found ways around it, but kids are stupid and I always catch them. So it may take me, weeks, months, days, whatever it takes to catch them making profiles or doing things they're not supposed to do. But I look and I watch because she's my kid and it's my job, right? It's not my job to be your friend. It's not my job to be liked by you. Eventually, someday, I'm hoping she'll look back and be like, oh, wow, man, Danny really took care of me. Danny knew what he knew and he took care of me. And that's when she's, 25. Hopefully she sees that. But if she doesn't, then she doesn't. But I did what I did because I thought it was best for her. And if she doesn't see that, I don't give a shit. It's my job.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's every parent's job, dad's job specifically. And my moms are pretty protective too, though. But my two girls are young. They're 8 and 9. Yep. Social media, no cell phone, none of that stuff exists. One of the things they do like to watch is YouTube, which which has great parental controls. So I can restrict way down. So they're not seeing everything on YouTube. They do like to watch these, they like to watch like streamers playing video games and stuff like that. And there's another show. There's a YouTube series that I like a lot, very wholesome, called Shiloh and Bros. And of course, when they're that young, you want to kind of like preview what they're looking at. Yeah. And I was very impressed with that particular series. It's not, it feels like they're a super religious family. I don't know too much about the family, but the content is very, very wholesome. And I'm just like you said, you got to protect them from the crap. And they can't be on X. X is like crazy Wild West. That's like uncensored to the T. All right. So I want to talk about
also with the YouTube stuff, just so you know, there are people out there that have found ways around the parental controls, and they'll use the shows that you like and they'll run the first 2 minutes of the show. So a parent will put it on and be like, oh, yeah, that's an episode. And then it cuts to something else. Like that's a real thing that has happened.
That's insane, bro. That's so deceptive.
Yeah, well, it happens. Like there are always going to be people out there that have the worst intentions for your world. So, it's I am a big believer that children under the age of 18 should not be just free reign on the internet whenever they want, however they want.
I agree with you on that part.
And it's kind of like, and I always got shit for it, right? Like a lot of people have told me, like, oh, well, this is the world we live in now. You have to give them, screen time, and you have to do this. It's like, yeah, I do have to give them screen time. But we also live in a world where they have to get exercise also. They still have to be outside. They still have to get fresh air, and they have to still, and I still have to monitor what they're doing and saying and being involved in, right? Because they're going to talk to strangers. If they're bored, they're going to talk to strangers. If I was bored, I talked to strangers. When the first internet came out, hell yeah, I got into chat rooms and chatted. Like, I'm not a fucking idiot. Like, I know what you're going to do as a teenager. Like, I know what you're interested in and what you're going to do and how you're going to behave, because I did the same thing myself. So it's not like you're not doing anything secretive or doing anything I didn't do before. It's kind of like we talked about with video, right? Like, you're not reinventing the wheel. Like, it's not new. You're not doing something new. There's just a new version of it. You think we didn't sneak? You think we didn't lie? You think we didn't go do shit we weren't supposed to do? We did. It just wasn't as fast and as available, but we did it.
It's funny that you brought that up is if you remember back when you were a kid, you would think though in your head that there's no way my mom knows that stuff. There's no way my dad, but they know.
Yeah.
So tell me about Burden Media.
The danger is now that it's remembered forever, right? When we were kids, like I grew up in the 90s and the 80s. When we were kids, we didn't have social media to capture everything, and there wasn't a camera in every room.
Oh, we were outside getting scrapes
like
and BMX biking.
If you wanted to take a picture of your dick and send it to somebody, you had to get a disposable camera. You had to take the pictures. You had to get the pictures developed. You had to get the pictures back. Then you had to ship them to somebody. Like, that's the process. Now it's like, click, gone, done. Like, that's the difference, right? Like, it happens so fast.
I think it's hilarious you're hyper-focused on the dick pics, though. Not going to lie.
well, the thing is like, the reason I'm hyper-focused on it is because even with your daughters and your kids, like, they're going to take pictures of themselves. They're going to.
No, please don't tell me that.
This is not a matter of like, oh, they might not. They will eventually.
No, Danny, no.
But you're a kid. Like, that's what kids do. So if we're going to talk about the internet, we're going to talk about social media, we should talk, and we're going to talk about being a parent, we're going to talk about kids. We should definitely talk about the fact that, like, think about yourself. If you had the opportunity when you were 14 years old and somebody was like, talk about the way that you talk to girls. Like, you can't tell me right now that at 15 years old, I wouldn't have tried to get tit pics. Like, I would have.
Oh, no shot. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, like, I would have done the same. Yep.
Right.
Yep,
and if the girl likes you enough and she trusts you, she's going to do it. And if you have daughters, that's what's happening.
Right. Dude,
that's just the reality of it.
I am at least 5 years from that. Please. I am so far away from that. Please.
But the behaviors of the internet have to be taught when they're 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, of like, hey man, this is not just this is not a safe place. Just like you wouldn't drop your kid off at a bar, you shouldn't drop your kid off on the internet. Because there are adults in the internet.
So I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about Burden. Let's talk about Burden Media. Because the only reason why is because I can see we're already at 8:20. You're going to have 10 minutes left of the cast. And I want to make sure that we talk about how you started it. What was the challenges you faced starting it? And I mean, this is really me to learn more from you, because I mean, the way I see you, you're basically, in my eyes, Titan in this kind of, media content stuff, creation, and the fact that you made movies. Tell me how you started Burden.
So it was a long road to Burden. I started out as a filmmaker. I lived in New York and LA for about 14 years. I was there when it went from film to digital. And basically I just spent the last, 15 years learning how to be a digital film. Well, 20 years now, God, almost 25 years. I've spent time understanding storytelling and learning storytelling and understanding that, storytelling is a thing. And then when social media got more ramped up and it got more necessary for businesses to participate, I came up with Burden Media because creating content is a burden. It's a pain in the ass. Nobody wants to do it. It's annoying. And at the end of the day, we lift that burden. We say, hey, look, man, we know this is a burden for you to make content and make enough content and make high quality content that you can post about your business as often as you need to. Let us do it for you. So that's what we do.
So outside of the movies,
yep,
which are the like, and you don't have to name in business if you want to, but what something stands out in between when you started the business and now? Like, what project did you like? It kind of like aha moment. Oh, that was awesome. You came away and you were like, that's fantastic.
Oh, I have one of those like weekly. We do so much content that like I mean, I was just shooting this morning at 5 a.m. and I just posted a picture that I took with my phone of the sunrise. I was like Earth is awesome. Like you can't make that light that the sunrise was making. Like it's just fucking awesome. So, and then I was at Homestead where I was doing my shoot today. They're a great client and they're out of Ellington. And I was there this morning before the sun even came up, and there's a fog and the lights are on and there's mist everywhere. And, you're just recording that going, man, this is just gorgeous footage. Like it's just really pretty, awesome footage. And then, when we edit it, my team puts it together or I put it together, I look at it and I go, yeah, man, fucking win. That's great. Like is it worth watching? Is it fun to watch? Is it functional? Is it serving a purpose for your brand? All those are wins. Like I just love what I do. So it like most of the stuff I do, I'm like, damn, that came out good, or damn, that's fucking that you guys are fucking crushing it. And to be honest, like it's my team really doing most of it, and I'm just kind of producing and directing as they go. So, but I am always impressed by the stuff that these guys are putting out. And these, like, I have 4 people working for me now. So I'm always impressed by what they're doing and how they're doing it, and excited to see them grow and encouraging them to do more and better. But yeah, I mean, I think probably on a weekly basis, minimally, I'm like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, that video is awesome. Let's push that.
So you say you have a team,
Yeah.
and so I have a few people that I've had over the years come in, and I've brought them in to help me do certain things. I found that managing people is pretty difficult.
Can be.
It's so what tips do you have for those dads in business that, like, you know, that they can manage their people better and get the best out of them, and also make them feel good about their job too, because I think that's important. I know a lot of people say, I just think it's important that you'll get better results if the person's happy where they are.
I think it's a balancing act of understanding that. I said to you before we started, right? I treat my kids like employees. I look at them as and I look at my employees as kids. Like, what do I want from them? What do I want them to accomplish? What do I want them to, where do I want them to end up, and where do they want to end up? Right. So it's a lot of listening and reacting. It's not a lot of telling them, hey, you have to do this, or hey, you need to do that, or hey, this needs to be done by this time. It's a lot of me listening and saying, hey, what do you need? Hey, what do you want? Hey, what's going on with you? I don't like the idea of like, we're a family. I'd much rather be friends with the people that I work with. And the reason I say that is because friends are loyal. Family is loyal by default for the most part. But if you're making bad choices and you're making poor choices, you'll leave the door open for your family. You won't leave that door open for your friends. Like if a friend steals from me, or a friend is disloyal, or a friend hurts me in a way that I find unredeemable, that's where we draw the line, and that's where we say, okay, this is done. Whereas if they're family, you go, oh, okay, you had a rough patch and we'll get through it and we'll figure it out, which you want to do with your friends too. But at a certain point, you have to cut them off. At a certain point, you have to be like, okay, we're done with this. Whereas like, if one of my siblings or somebody, if somebody that I'm related to is an addict, or they're making super bad choices, or they go to prison, or they do something so bad that like they're out of my life, that door isn't necessarily always closed. They can come knock on the door and say, hey man, I know I fucked up. I want to be back in your life. And they can take slow steps to get back into my life. But when you're in business, once you're out, you kind of have to be out. Loyalty is everything to me. I've been talking about this a lot lately with people. Loyalty is everything for me. If you're not loyal to the brand and you're not loyal to us, then there's really no reason for you to be here, because I'm that loyal to you. So I do stuff for my employees that not a lot of other people do. So like I sent Tyler, who has been here the longest, I sent him to Disney World last year because he'd never been to Disney World. The other girl that works for me, Kylie, she is phenomenal. She hasn't even worked here for a year yet, but she has been crushing it. And she's a huge Tennessee Titans fan, and she's never seen them play. So I bought her tickets to see Tennessee Titans play in Tennessee. And I bought her airfare and I bought her hotel room. And I'm just sending her with a friend to go watch the Titans play. So I listen to my people and what they like and what they want. And then I try and make it happen if I can. So like Kylie was in our office the other day and she was like shadow dribbling and like, she was like, oh, you know what I need in here? I need a mini basketball hoop. Done. I fucking ordered one and hung it on our wall the next day because I was listening. Like, you need a mental break and this is how you want to take that mental break. Okay, then I'm listening to you. I'm hearing what you're saying. And it's not hindering my business because she needs to take a break anyway. She needs to step away from the computer screen and she needs to do other stuff. So this is a really healthy way and a really good way for her to be able to do that. Does that make sense?
No, totally makes sense, bro. I absolutely love that. That's exactly like what where before, even 20, 30 years ago, it was more of a kind of a factory setting, even in offices. And I've always believed that just like I said earlier, if a person feels good working for you and you're going to get better results above and beyond because you went above and beyond. So they're going to go above and beyond. And just like you said, everybody's friends and having a great time. Tell me now about Dads in Business, because I thought this was the most valuable. I said this last week and I'll say it again. I'm going to say it again and again. It's one of the most valuable groups that I've ever been a part of. I've learned so much from minute one. When did you get involved? How did you get involved? And what do you think the future should be?
So I got involved pretty early on. I think I was in the first maybe 50 to 100 members when I first got on. And I spent a lot of time on social media searching out groups, right? Because I was a dad and there was a lot of dads groups out there, but most of the dad groups that are out there were a lot of really aggressive behavior, belittling women, belittling moms, talking shit about, baby mamas and complaining that their world didn't look the way it looked, or like I have to pay child support, or it was just a lot of negative talk and a lot of negative shit going on. And I just kept looking for groups to join and to look at and curate. And I came across Dads in Business and it seemed pretty positive. And then I reached out to Brian Waddell when he was, early on. And I was like, hey man, I really dig this group. Like, what's your goal? Like, what are you looking to do? And he explained that, he's a dad and he is looking for people to hang out with that have kids that are the same age as his. And he's looking to create a positive group that has positive outcomes. And he's a business owner. So he wanted other business owners and he wanted other dads that were in business. And we kind of limited it down to, okay, this is a cool thing to do. This is a very interesting way to approach being a parent and having like-minded people kind of gather together in a space and be more positive. So that was kind of when he invited me in to be like, hey man, I want you to be part of this. I want you to, if anything happens to me, I'd love for you to be the one that kind of takes the reins and runs the social media part. And, you're a social media expert of sorts. And he just kind of open arms, just kind of welcomed me in. And we just had very open conversations about what it was to be a dad and what it was to be in business and what was more important, the understanding of, it being a dad or it being, a dad in business. And it was like, well, it's a little bit of everything, but dad's in business. The dad is first because that's the part that's the most important, right? Like my team, the people that work with me know that I am leaving early if my daughter has a game. I am leaving early if my daughter has something going on. My clients know that if my daughter has something going on, they're probably not going to see me, but they might see somebody from my team. And it's the same for them. Like the people that I work with and my clients, if, they tell me that, hey man, I got to cancel this because, this family thing came up, like done. Like, you never have to apologize to me for family. And that's kind of where Dads in Business kind of created this network of people that kind of understood what was going on and understood that being a dad has its challenges. And some of those challenges are just finding friends that are like-minded and acquaintances that you can reach out to and connect with that understand what you're talking about and how you're talking about it. So what we want for Dads in Business is we want Dads in Business to kind of just grow and become a place for dads to connect and know that they have people that are like-minded, that are running businesses or high up in management levels of business, and they are able to talk to each other about whether it be business stuff or dad stuff or both. And it's not one of these like BNI groups or one of these where it's like, oh, well, we already have a video guy, so Glenn, there's no room for you. So sorry for your luck. We love that you're starting out, but too fucking bad. We already have this guy and we love him. It's like, no, there's room. Like, come in, like, come do your thing. There's plenty for everybody to eat. Like I tell people all the time with my business, if I want to, I can lowball everybody. I can just drive my prices way down and crush every independent video guy there is, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the question is, do you want to do something?
It's not the business I want to run. It's not the model I want to run.
Exactly.
It's not what I want to do, right? I don't want to run around doing $250 videos just because businesses don't understand what they need and what they want to do. Like, if you're a true business and you're a true entrepreneur, you want to develop the skills and the things necessary to grow your business the way you want it to grow. And part of that is content creation, and part of that is being on social media, and part of that is being on social media in groups like Dads in Business.
So you started in the first 50, and I'm just going to compliment you and the entire team that built Dads in Business, because what you just said was what I felt when I joined.
Brilliant.
And I joined early on, I didn't understand how to sort of get in gear with the group. It probably took me about 6 months, and I feel like a lot of other members are having the same issue. You kind of feel, because you're so used to, spamming a group, oh, I do this, I do that. Hey, by the way, if you need. One of the things that Brian grabbed me and pulled me aside, it says you want to give more than you take. And that put me in a different mindset. And I feel like a lot of members need to sort of hear this again, learning from the lesson that I learned, because I blew it in the beginning. I came off like that car salesman, and reading. And once Brian pulled me aside, said, it's not what it's about. I stopped and I started reading instead. And that was what you guys built there. And finally understanding it and seeing the tremendous value that it gives, not just in business, but being a dad. Because like I said, we talked a little bit about, when they start to become teenagers, and you've already been through that, where I'm not quite there yet. So you kind of told me, like, this is what you get to look forward to, and keep an eye on things and watch that social media. And, so that's the value this group gives. And I think that the value that we all give each other.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's a lesson for every business, is give more than you take. I am a big proponent of, like, give more than you take. Like,
over deliver.
Over deliver, under promise. It's that kind of thing where it's like, hey, look, this is what I know I can do, so this is what I'm going to do. And then if you can give them more, you give them more. I don't charge extra for the extras I give. I don't expect more from my team when I give them a trip somewhere. I give them something. They already earned it. That's why I gave it to them. This isn't so you'll do more for me. This is because you already did shit for me. You already did this. You were already successful. You already won. So this is your prize. Like, that's just how I look at life. Like, I don't want people to be burnt out. I just, we were just having a conversation the other day that, like, if you come into Burden Media and you're not filled with joy and you're not filled with opportunity, then I'm failing. That, like, if you're not excited to be here and you're not looking forward to the opportunities that you have while you're here, I failed. That's on me. And I feel the same way about my kid. My kid needs to be filled with joy and feel like there's opportunity. And I fail at that all the time. all the time I'm failing as a dad, and it sucks.
Yeah, it
It
does. I
feels
know what you mean.
terrible to feel like a failure as a dad, and you have to reach out to the people that you trust and the people that you know and be like, dude, I fucked up. Like, where did I go wrong? And then they're like, no, man, don't worry about it. That's what teenagers do. That's what 12-year-olds do. Like, don't sweat that. That's what they're supposed to do that. That's part of the makeup. That's part of what they're supposed to be doing right now. Because you want your kids and you want your team and you want your business all to be smooth, but that's not life. That's not how it works. And if you give up when it's hard, then you're going to lose a lot.
And it's super nice to have the dads to kind of lean on, just like you said. And I love the fact that you also mentioned that the group itself is not a BNI group. Because I personally, I fucking hate BNIs.
Yep.
I think it's the worst. Get up at 7:00. Everybody talks. Everybody pulls. You know what? Everybody pulls each other's dick. That's what happens. And I think it's the fucking worst.
They're mostly just selling to each other in my experience. They're just kind of incestually. But again, they're going in with an ask, right? And that's how it's designed. It's designed to be an ask. It's designed to be like, hey, come in, talk about yourself for 30 seconds. Listen to everybody else talk about themselves for 30 seconds to a minute. Now you can mingle, and then we'll have one person that'll showcase a little bit more of their stuff. It's like, oh, okay, so I get to just sell to the group. And it's like, sales is crazy. I don't want to be involved in sales. I want to be involved in purchasing. I want people to purchase. I want people to buy from me. I don't want to sell you on it. When I go into a meeting, I'm not looking to sell you what I have. I'm looking to see what problem I can solve. And if I can solve your problem, great. And you want to pay for that to be solved, awesome. I love that. I look forward to working with you.
I feel like you're more thinking about relationship marketing, which is the other big lesson I learned from dads, specifically from Matt Miali. I don't know if I know you talk to him once in a while, at least, right? Yeah. So he's an amazing. He's the one who kind of taught me about relationship marketing, and I think that trumps most everything else, because when you have a relationship with the client and client has a relationship with you, you trust each other. People want to do business with people they like, and that's the lesson that I got from him.
That makes sense.
Danny, thank you so much for joining me this morning, man. I appreciate you getting up at 5:00 in the morning and still putting the podcast in, my dude.
Yeah, I got all kinds of stuff going on today. So
awesome, bro. Thank you. Again, we're here every Monday. And again, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I will see you in the group, my dude.
All right, bro.
All right. So that is the business. That is Burden Media. That is Danny Legare. That guy is absolutely amazing. And I just want to say how much I appreciate everybody watching the show. We're here every Monday morning at 8 a.m. I know after looking at the dashboard, but that the cast didn't make it to the group, went to my other page, which it's like a Facebook thing. However, I did post a link, and I will get the full video into the group by today, so you guys can watch the full video. Talking with Danny was incredible, insightful, and made me feel good about my daughters now. Made me feel good about going forward. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys next week at 8 a.m.